Have you ever wondered where colors come from? Not from a paint can or a crayon box, but from something much deeper, something right inside of us. Today, I want to tell you a story about a magical place and a young boy who discovered the secret. Once upon a time, nestled between rolling hills and sparkling rivers, there was a beautiful place called the City of Colors. It wasn't just a name, it was a reality. The streets were paved with vibrant red stones that shone like rubies under the sun. The houses were painted in every shade of blue, from the softest sky blue to the deepest ocean navy. The parks were filled with golden flowers and trees with leaves of emerald and lime. Every single corner of the city was painted with pure, unadulterated joy. Life in the City of Colors was as bright as its appearance. People woke up every morning with genuine smiles on their faces, excited for the day ahead. You could hear the sound of children's laughter echoing through the streets as they played freely, their games as imaginative and colorful as their surroundings. The air itself felt different, filled with a kind of music made from happiness, friendship, and community. It was a perfect harmony, a place where everyone felt they belonged. But one morning, something strange, something unsettling, happened. The citizens awoke not to the familiar brilliant hues, but to a world that was slowly, silently fading. It was as if a heavy blanket of gloom had fallen over everyone and everything. The world was turning monochrome, and with it, so were the hearts of its people. The wise elders of the city, their faces etched with concern, gathered in the central square. They consulted ancient books and shared stories passed down through generations. After much deliberation, they announced their conclusion, their voices heavy but clear. The colors have left us because kindness has left our hearts. The colors will only return when kindness returns to our city. Now, in a small, humble wooden house on the very edge of the city, lived a young boy named Sammy. Sammy wasn't the strongest boy in the city, nor was he the fastest runner. He didn't have any special talents that made him stand out. But what he did have was something far more precious, a heart that was overflowing with goodness and a spirit that refused to be dimmed by the spreading grayness. Listening to the elders' words, Sammy felt a spark ignite within him. He looked at his gray surroundings, at the sad faces of his neighbors, and he made a brave, determined decision. He stood up tall, clenched his small fists, and whispered to himself, "I will do it. I will bring the colors back." And so his extraordinary mission began. On the first day of his quest, Sammy set out with a clear purpose. His journey led him to an old woman who lived all by herself at the end of a quiet lane. Her garden was dry and withered, and her home felt as lonely as she did. Without a second thought, Sammy picked up a rake and began to clean her yard, pulling weeds and clearing away fallen leaves. He then found a watering can and gave her thirsty flowers a long, refreshing drink. But he didn't stop there. He sat with her on her porch, listening to her stories and sharing his own, making her feel seen and less alone. And just as a smile touched the old woman's lips, a miracle happened. Sammy invited her to play, and soon they were running through the park. Their laughter, a melody that had been missing for so long. They shared their toys, they built a make-believe castle, and for the first time in a long time, Hannah wasn't alone. As they played, a brilliant, warm yellow light began to fill the sky, chasing away the gray clouds and warming the city like a long-lost sunbeam. On the third day, Sammy saw a street cleaner working tirelessly, his shoulders slumped with exhaustion. Every single time Sammy performed an act of kindness, no matter how small, a color returned to the city. A helping hand here, a shared snack there, a kind word to someone who was feeling down, each action was like a brushstroke, painting the world with vibrancy once again. And then something truly beautiful and transformative began to happen. The people of the city, who had been watching Sammy, started to understand. It wasn't magic, it was something they could all do. Inspired by this small boy with a big heart, they started their own missions of kindness. They started helping one another. Someone would carry a neighbor's heavy groceries. A baker would give a warm loaf of bread to a family in need. They began to apologize for past arguments, letting go of old grudges. They shared food at community tables, planted new, colorful flowers in public gardens, and gave hugs freely without hesitation. You could see the change everywhere. Children started helping the elders cross the graying streets, their small hands guiding them safely. Neighbors who had once lived side by side in silence began to talk to each other, not with anger or suspicion, but with love and understanding. Day by day, inch by inch, the city began to shine again. The red of the streets returned, deeper and richer than before. The houses glowed with every color of the rainbow. The city wasn't just restored. It was reborn, stronger, brighter, and happier than it had ever been. The colors were more vivid because they were now rooted in the genuine kindness of the people. To celebrate, everyone in the city gathered in the central square, their faces bright with joy and gratitude. The mayor stood on a platform, his smile reaching from ear to ear, and called Sammy forward. He placed a hand on the boy's shoulder and said, his voice ringing with pride, "Sammy, you are our hero. You brought back our colors.